Ciao Bella! Welcome to Bellauncinettocrafts and another episode of Reading with Bella. We are going to continue our Jabberwocky readings from Lewis Carroll. Now this book, as I've explained previously, has more than just Jabberwocky in it. So we're going to get through the whole thing at some point. But right now I am reading some of Lewis Carroll's poetry. And I'm going to read two sections today from different Rectory magazines that he wrote. Or not, poems that he wrote for the magazine. He didn't write the magazines. And I hope you all enjoy. So this first set, they were first published around 1848. All right. And the first one is called Tears. For more than 60 years, less than 100, I've lived in sighs and tears and often wondered if I should ever be in whittle, brimful of jollity, playing a fiddle. I played a broken fife and sung in a dull key. Thus I remain for life, wretched and sulky. The next one, as it fell upon a day. As I was sitting on the hearth, and oh, but a hog is fat, a man came hurrying up the path, and what care I for that? When he came the house unto, his breath both quick and short he drew. When he came before the door, his face grew paler than before. When he turned the handle round, the man fell fainting to the ground. When he crossed the lofty hall, once and again I heard him fall. When he came up the turret stair, he shrieked and tore his raven hair. When he came my chamber in, and oh, but a hog is fat, I ran him through with a golden pin, and what care I for that? Maybe? The next one is called Terrors. See the planets as they rise, each upon his starless way. Look on us with angry eyes, do they not appear to say, "Stupid fellow, hold your tongue. Seek not thus to goad us on. You, in fact, are much too young to offer your opinion. Seest thou not the mountains swell? Seest thou not the trees draw near? Ah me, I hear an angry bell. Ah me, I see a waving spear. Is it not that an angry snake? Lo, he twists his writhing tail. Hear the hisses he doth make. See his yellow coat of mail. Distant howls still longer groan. Angry mutterings sounding near. All proclaim with solemn tone something dreadful coming here. Lo, it comes, a vision grim, puffing forth black coils of smoke. While amidst these terrors dim I listen, thus the monster spoke. Clear the line, clear the rails, stop the engine, hold there, steady. Stoker, hand me up those pails. Euston Station, tickets ready. Tickets ready, tickets, Thus it spoke and thus I acted, left the scenes of terrors quickly, and rushed home like one distracted. This next one is called Woes. With rapid start and forward dart, as when it left the cannon, along the ground with swift rebound the cannon ball it ran on. Through hill and dale, through many a vale, through country town and village, now onward borne through fields of corn, rich recompense for tillage. Still, hop, 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 no pause nor stop, o'er precipice and mountain, through briar and brake, through pool and lake, by stream and sparkling fountain. Across the plain, along the main of ocean loudly roaring, now here, now there, now in the air, like swallow lightly soaring. And still, hop, hop, no pause nor stop, the cannon ball it ran on, with swift rebound along the ground, as it went it left the cannon. Along the ground, through hill and mound, it passed no pause nor warning, when see, oh see, beneath a tree, a lion grimly yawning. Deep yawning grim, of massive limb and jaws with blood bespattered, while all around upon the ground white skulls and bones were scattered. With rapid bound along the ground the cannon ball did fly on, no pause nor stop till it entered, pop, the deep throat of the lion. Two chokes, one howl, a stifled growl, it died without a struggle, and the only sound that was heard around was his last expiring gurgle. I'm a little sad. Okay. The next one is Yang-ki-ling. His Highness Yang-ki-ling, great China's mighty king, upon his throne was sitting, around him all courtiers all lay prostrate in the hall, in attitude most fitting. Approach, fee-fi-fo-fum, great western traveller, come, of science learned lover, among my cooks not one, thus spake the crowd one, can a new dish discover. Of bird's nest soup I've tried, a dish though much admired, which yet well bears omission, baked puppies and stewed snails, like oft-related tales, discussed on repetition. He spoke. Sire, Fum replied, I've travelled far and wide, his robe with terror crumpling. But in all the world combined, no better dish could find than an English apple dumpling. This one's called Misunderstandings. If such a thing had been my thought, I should have told you so before, but as I didn't, then you ought to ask for such a thing no more. For to teach one who has been taught is always thought an awful bore. Now to commence my argument, I shall premise an observation, on which the greatest kings have leant, when striving to subdue a nation, and e'en the wretch who pays no rent can by it can solve a hard equation. Its truth is such, the force of reason cannot avail to shake its power, yet e'en the sun in summer season doth not dispel so mild a shower. As this, and he who sees it, sees on, beyond it to a sunny bower. No more, when ignorance is treason, let wisdom's brows be cold and sour. The next one is called Screams. Grim was the scowl of his face that day, as he led me by the wrist. Ever and anon he paused on the way. I don't think I'm going to read this one. Yeah, I'm not going to read that one. I'm going to stop right there. We're not going to finish that one. Sorry, Lewis Carroll. I didn't read these before, but that's okay. I will read the next one. This will be the last one for this part, and then we'll read the next part. Thrillings. Uncertain was his hazy pace, his bloodshot eye was dim. I gazed in wonder on his face, in wonder gazed on him. All haggard was his cold pale cheek, all haggard was his brow. Methinks again I hear him speak, methinks I hear him now. As he paced across his lonely room, with tightly clenched fist, and his glaring eyes did hideous loom through the blackly gathering mist. As with desperate hand he struck his brow and stamped upon the floor, methinks I hear his accents now, in solemn tone once more. I gave my pen a careless flirt, he said, midst deep-drawn sighs, and the scratchy thing the ink did spurt right into both my eyes. That'd be an interesting thing to explain. Okay. This next section is from the Rectory Umbrella. So there are a couple of poems here, and that's why I put both of these sections together, because they're fairly short. So we're going to read this next section as well. Ye Fatalle Cheyse. Yeet was mirk and dreary cave, we'd scroggins o'er you'd crape, gurgles within you flow and wave, through channel braid and deep. Never within the dreary recess was seen a light of day. What bod as on ye'd's mirkness, nan kend and nan mote say. Ye monarch raid or bower break and bray, and drave ye yelling pack. His mighty all rich godly, or when yin his track. When eager with yelp and cray, on these Dani rocks, ahead o I, their company, reneth Panky Fox. Ye foxes he sought the cave of awe, for wearied wi his reen. Quai no ye say, bald and braw, to dare to enter yin. With eager bound, he's ill-conned, gained till that cavern drear. Found many a yowl ye's heard around, found many a screech of fear. Like and with thirsty appetite, we swalloweth orange pulp, we's aired an uggle and a bite, and swallow and a gulp. Ye king his lap frae off his steed, outbraid his trenchant brand, qua on my pack of awns doth feed, maun die beneath thil gand. Sae said, sae done, ye stronders heard, found many a mickle stroke, sounds like in flap and gee of a bird, and struggle and a choke. Out ye cave, scarce fit, then yet, we pow and push and awe, whereof ye've drawn a little bite, but burst doth not draw yet awe. Now, that was a lovely example of some Old English mixed with some gibberish, because it gives you here some of the words that were written in Old English so that you know what they are, but it does not give you the words for the gibberish. So, there you have it. The next one is the storm. An old man sat anent a claw, a grizzled old man and weird. Deep were the rinks in his aged brow, and o'er his snowy beard. All trembled before his glance, I trow, sae savagely he learned. The rain cloud came from out the west, and spread across the sky. The crow has cowered in her nest, she kens the storm is nigh. He folds his arms across his breast, thunder and lightning, do your best, I will not flinch or fly. Draggles with wet the tall oak tree beneath the dashing rain. The old man sat, and gloomily he gazed across the plain. Down on the wild and heaving sea, where heavily and toilsomely yon vessel ploughs the main. Above the thunder, clouds frown black, the darkness waves howl below. Scarce can she hold along her track, fast rocking to and fro. And oft the billows drive her back, and oft her straining climbers crack, yet onward doth she go. The old man gazed without a wink, and with a deadly grin, I laid a wager she would sink, strong hopes had I to win. 'Twas 10-1, but now I think that Bob will sack the tin. Then from the precipice's brink he plunged head foremost in. Well, there you have it. All right, so this next set is, I want to say there's 3. No, maybe there's just 2. These are called Lays of Sorrow. Okay, there's only 2. I thought there were 3. That's okay. So I'm gonna, this is number 1, and then when I get to number 2, I'm gonna say number 2. The day was wet, the rain fell souse, like jars of strawberry jam. Sound was heard in the old hen house, a beating of a hammer. A stalwart form and visage warm, 2 youths were seen within it, splitting up an old tree into perches for their poultry at 100 strokes a minute. The work is done, the hen has taken possession of her nest and eggs, without a thought of eggs and bacon. Or, I am very much mistaken. She turns over each shell to be sure that all's well, looks into the straw to see there's no flaw, goes once round the house, half afraid of a mouse, then sinks calmly to rest on top of her nest, first doubling up each of her legs. Time rolled away, and so did every shell, small by degrees and beautifully less, as the sage mother with a powerful spell forced each in turn its contents to express, but awe imperfect is expression. Some poet said, I don't care who, if you want to know, you must go elsewhere. One fact I can tell if you're willing to hear, he never attended a Parliament session, for I'm certain that if he had ever been there, full quickly would he have changed his ideas with the hissings, the hootings, and the groans and the cheers. And to his name, it's pretty clear that it wasn't me, and it wasn't you. And so it fell upon a day, that is, it never rose again. A chick was found upon the hay, its little life had ebbed away. No longer frolicsome and gay, no longer could it run or play. And must we, chicken, must we part? Its master cried with bursting heart, a voice of agony and pain, so one whose ticket marked return. When to lonely roadside station he flies in fear and perturbation, thinks of his home, the hissing urn, then runs with flying hat and hair, and entering finds to his despair he's missed the very last train. Too long it were to tell of each conjecture of chicken suicide and poultry victim, the deadly frown, the stern and dreary lecture, the timid guess, perhaps some needle pricked him. The din of voice, the words both loud and many, the sob, the tear, the sigh that none could smother, till all agreed, a shilling to a penny, it killed itself, and we acquit the mother. Scarce was the verdict spoken, when that still calm was broken. A childish form hath burst into the throng, with tears and looks of sadness that brings no news of gladness, but tell too surely something hath gone wrong. The sight that I have come upon, the stoutest heart would sicken. The nasty hen has been and gone, and killed another chicken. Number 2. First stands the ancient rectory, the rectory of Croft. The sun shines bright upon it, the breezes whisper soft. From all the house and garden its inhabitants come forth, and muster in the road without, a pace in twos and threes about, the children of the north. Some are waiting in the garden, some are waiting at the door, and some are following behind, and some have gone before. But wherefore all this mustering? Wherefore this vast array? A gallant feat of horsemanship will be performed today. To eastward and to westward the crowd divides amain. 2 youths are leading on the steed, both tugging at the rein, and sorely do they labor, for the steed is very strong, and backwards moves its stubborn feet, and backwards ever doth retreat, and drags its guides along. And now the knight hath mounted before the admiring band, hath got the stirrups on his feet, the bridle in his hand. Yet, oh, beware, Sir Horseman, and tempt thy fate no more, for such a steed as thou hast got was never rid before. The rabbits bow before thee, and cower in the straw. The chickens are submissive, and own thy will for law. Bullfinches and canary thy bidding do obey, and e'en the tortoise in its shell doth never say thee nay. But the steed will hear no master, thy steed will bear no stick, and woe to those that beat her, and woe to those that kick. For though her rider smite her as hard as he can hit, and strive to turn her from the yard, she stands in silence, pulling hard against the pulling bit. And now the road to Dalton hath felt their coming tread. The crowd are speeding on before, and all have gone ahead. Yet often look they backward, and cheer him on and brawl, for slower still, and still more slow, that horseman and that charger go, and scarce advance at all. And now 2 roads to choose from are in that rider's sight. In front the road to Dalton, and New Croft upon the right. I can't get by, he bellows, I'm really not able. Though I pull my shoulder out of joint, I cannot get him past the point, for it leads unto his stable. Then out spake Ulfred Longbow, a valiant youth was he. Lo, I will stand on thy right hand, and guard the pass for thee. And out spake fair Florissa, his sister eke was she. I will abide the other side, and turn thy steed for thee. And now commenced a struggle between that steed and rider, for all the strength that he had left doth not suffice to guide her. Though Ulfred and his sister have kindly stopped the way, and all the crowd have cried aloud, We can't wait here all day. Round he turned, as not deigning their words to understand, but he slipped from the stirrups from his feet, the bridle from his hand, and grasped the mane full lightly, and vaulted from his seat, and gained the road in triumph, and stood upon his feet. All firmly till that moment had Ulfred Longbow stood, and faced the foe right valiantly, as every warrior should. But when safe on terra firma, his brother he did spy. What did you do that for? He cried. The unconcerned he stepped aside, and let it canter by. They gave him bread and butter, that was of public right, as much as 4 strong rabbits could munch from morn to night, for he'd done a deed of daring and faced the savage steed, and therefore cups of coffee sweet and everything that was a treat were but his right and meed. And often in the evenings, when the fire is blazing bright, when books bestrew the table and moths obscure the light, when crying children go to bed, a struggling kicking load will talk of Ulfred Lungbow's deed, how in his brother's utmost need back to his aid he flew with speed, and how he faced the fiery steed and kept the Newcroft road. All right. This is the last one in this section, so this will be the last poem for this reading. This is called The Poet's Farewell. All day he had sat without a hat, the comical old feller, shading from his form from the driving storm with the Rectory Umbrella. When the storm had passed by, and the ground was dry, and the sun shone bright on the plain, he arose from his seat, and he stood on his feet, and sang a melting strain. I'm not singing. All is over, the sun is setting, soon will sound the dinner bell. Thou hast saved me from a wedding, here I'll take my last farewell. For dose the eclipse the magazines which came before thy day, and thy coming made them stagger like the stars at morning ray. Let me call again their phantoms and their voices long gone by, like the crow of distant bantams or the buzzing of a fly. First in age, but not in parrot, stands the Rectory Magazine. All its wit thou dost inherit, though the comic came between. Novelty was in its favor, and mellifluous it lays. All with eager plaudits gave a vote of honor in its praise. Next in order comes the comet, like some vague and feverish dream. Gladly, gladly I turn from it to behold the rising beam. When I first began to edit in the Rectory Magazine, each one wrote therein who read it, each one read who wrote therein. When the comet next I started, they grew lazy as a drone. Gradually all departed, leaving me to write alone. But in thee, let future ages mark the fact which I record, no one helped me in thy pages, even with a single word. But the wine has left the cellar, and I hear the dinner bell. So fare thee well, my old umbrella. Dear umbrella, fare thee well. And that is the end of those 2 sections. So, as always, any thoughts or comments you have on anything that I have read, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll see you again very soon. Be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao, Bella.